What's up, you good-looking humans? Now, in today's video, we're going to be discussing the art and science of creation, which is a video that I'm really excited to bring to you today, so thanks for tuning in. Now, the reason why I am so fired up about this particular video is that the art and science of creation is really the core essence of everything in life. Everything is a creation, right? And everything is a byproduct of a creation at some point in time. And in every moment, we are either creating the reality that we desire or the reality that we don't desire based on our current energetic vibrational frequency. So what I want to discuss today in part one or section one, the first half of this video, is really the bigger picture philosophy of creation itself and how you can utilize the power of creation to your advantage to create the reality that you desire in life. And then in the second part, I'm going to give you some strategic how-to and some tactical stuff that you can work on to enhance your creative output and your creative ability in whatever pursuit that you're currently in. So this video is for you if you are a form of an entrepreneur, some form of creator, a designer, or really anyone that has the desire to create something of value in the world, to innovate, or even if you're just someone who's wanting to express your core essence more authentically as well, and you're wanting to transition and start consuming less in the world or online, I guess, and starting to produce more of your own work that you can really be proud of moving forward. So now, the reason why I'm inspired to create this video today is I am extremely passionate about creation. Throughout my life, I've been obsessed with performance and extracting the most that I possibly can out of every situation and helping others do that too. And for the past 4 years, I've done that in the field of entrepreneurship, in helping entrepreneurs start and grow their business, but more so about helping them scale it and enhance their own personal performance in that pursuit. And in my journey of really wanting to master high performance in and of itself, I realized that the key to performance, my definition for performance, is being able to create your desired outcome and create your desired reality in every situation that you encounter. So that can apply into anything. It could be something you're creating in business. It could be an outcome that you're trying to achieve in an athletic pursuit. It could be an outcome that you want to achieve in a relationship, in a work endeavor. It really does apply to absolutely everything. And the reason why I think that's so cool is that it can get us out of our head in looking at, the nitty-gritty details, the micro details of a situation, and we can zoom out to start working with the core laws and principles of creation itself, which is basically the core laws of the universe and how the universe operates, because we are a byproduct of the universal creation, right? So it makes sense if we want to perform and live to our utmost and elite capacity, so to speak, then it would make sense for us to align ourselves and start to become more aware of what the universal laws are and what the universal laws of creation are. Because if we can tune in and align ourselves with the laws of creation, then we will start to become better at creating our desired reality in every situation that we encounter. So instead of worrying about the details of what situation you're in, this allows us to actually go within and look at mastering your internal operating system, right? Your mind, body, spirit complex that allows you to adapt the tools and the methods and the skills that you develop in the mastery of yourself internally will then apply into everything in your life. So this is really why I love the link between performance and creativity, because performance is creativity. It's being able to create your desired outcome, right? And the more that you master yourself internally, what's going on in the external world matters less. The more that you master your internal world. Because when you are able to master your internal world, you can use those same skill sets in any pursuit and any endeavor. So if you want to get really good at anything in life, the key really is in the mastery of yourself, because once you do that, you can apply it, as I said, into any skill set or any endeavor in the external world, because energy creates matter, okay? Now, if you haven't already seen my video, The Building of Consciousness, I'd recommend checking that out after this video. So maybe open up a new tab. I'll include the link in the description in this video specifically. But in that video, we covered some core principles of the link between consciousness and energy. So when we're looking at the raw elements of creativity, we came to the conclusion that everything in the universe is energy. And essentially, when we looked at the layers or the levels, the dimensions of consciousness, we looked at how energy precedes matter. Now, what does that mean? Well, you know, there's a link between quantum physics and looking at the energetic world. So if you're interested in looking into the details of what I'm talking about a little bit further, you can go and investigate quantum physics and how that works. But basically, what that's really, the core underlying essence of it is that matter vibrates at a certain frequency, and all matter is created from energy. Matter is created, or its energy is turned into matter when it reduces down to a specific frequency in which it becomes so dense, or dense enough, in where all of the atoms start to form and create a tight, compact bond with one another, and that creates the physical materials that we see in our physical environment, right? Here on a third dimensional reality that we call Earth. So when we understand that energy creates matter, if we're wanting to create then anything in our physical reality, we need to focus on our energy, because our internal energy creates our external reality. In other words, our internal energetic vibrational frequency will create everything in our lived experience or in our reality, okay? So in understanding that, we know that really the art and the game of creation itself is all about focusing on your internal state, okay? Now, back to the reason why I'm excited and inspired to create this video right now is that after my pursuit in really wanting to understand the underlying fabric and principles of performance, which led me to energy, consciousness, and exploring the laws of creation, more recently, over the last 9 months, my partner Jenny has been pregnant and actually recently gave birth over the last few days to our newborn child, Brooklyn. And it was fascinating. It was like the most mystical and amazing experience that I've ever witnessed and been a part of. But in really looking at the creative process, because that is a creative process, right? Giving birth and creating another fucking human being. It's incredible. It's insane. It's so wild to think that a human being can really come to be from this initial chemical reaction that takes place inside a human body. What this experience has really allowed me to see at an amplified rate more intimately, more recently, is that creativity is innate within us, right? It's our inborn gift, because although my newborn child, Brooklyn, has yet to live like more than a week, she already has the divine blueprint of being able to perpetuate and bring life into Earth in the future. It's already built within her DNA structure that allows her to do that without having to learn anything, right? You know, just by default, by being born, by being human, by being a part of this cosmic structure, she has the greatest gift, the greatest creative ability that is known to exist, bringing life itself into creation. Now, I think that is such a fantastic way to look at creation, because if we can create other human beings, which is so divinely designed and constructed with all of our inbuilt functions that just happen for us without us even having to think about it, we are really a meticulous design. I mean, we are multi-dimensional human beings living in physical vehicles that have access to higher planes of intelligence, and we have all of these amazingly like inbuilt functions that just operate and allow us to function at great, like really optimal capacities without us even having to think through the process logically, right? And if we can do that, then surely there's much more that we can create. So what I really wanted to take a moment to say right now is that, like, if you personally are struggling in the creative process, struggling to create maybe your ideal situation at work, struggling to create the ideal dynamic in your relationship, struggling to create a new startup business or to scale it and to innovate in your marketplace, well, just know that you are born as a quantum creator. You have this infinite capability within you to create anything that you desire in your reality. All it takes is for you to really get out of your head and return to the core essence of who you are, because it's your birthright, it's your gift, it's already within you. There's nothing else in the external world that you have to do or achieve to enhance your creative ability. It's already built within the structure of your DNA, right? It's in your fucking genetics. It's in you already. You have the power of the creator, of God or source, or however you view that, built innately within you, which is fucking amazing. And just by knowing that, it can really bring a new lease of life into enhancing your level of confidence to go out and actually just take charge and just get out of the victimhood mentality to go and make it happen, because you can. So in looking at this big picture and looking at this understanding of, you know, the creative process at work here in wanting to design and create our ideal reality for ourselves and those around us in our world, I want to take a look at a couple of things. So in addition to understanding that, like what we recapped on from the previous video, that the core foundation and fabric of the universe is really built on consciousness and energy, and by channeling consciousness and energy, we create things in our reality, right, throughout the universe. So knowing that, let's just take a look at what that looks like visually, first and foremost, as a recap, and then we're going to get into 3 core strategies that you can apply immediately into your life to start enhancing your creative talent, really, or remembering and reawakening the creative talent that you already have within you, okay? So one image that I'd like to represent right now is, this is also in the other video, but let's just quickly recap. So many people have a scientific understanding of this. If you're religious, you might have a God understanding of this, but the scientific folk are going to consider this as like the Big Bang Theory. Religious are going to orientate towards God. Spiritual people are probably going to orientate towards divine, source, God, the one infinite creator type thing, okay? So whatever you believe, it's totally up to you. Take this or leave it. I'm not here to decide or to convince you of anything. You just take away from this video what is going to work for you and empower you the most in your life, okay? And I've just found that this is my truth, and I'm just expressing that for you in hoping that it can help someone here watching this video, okay? So with the great central sun, this is the core, this is the center of our universe. And the great central sun basically emits a stream of light, or in other words, consciousness, information, intelligence that flows through the universe through energy. And if you look into the principles of quantum physics, you'll know that everything in the universe is entangled quantumly through energy, and all energy is connected. One thing that I say right here, right now, in my living room in Austin, Texas, on planet Earth, in the Milky Way galaxy, can affect the energy of something that I could be entangled to on the complete opposite other side of the universe. That's how insane the connection and the entanglement of energy is. So to like maybe visually represent that, we must note that we are like quantum energetic beings, okay? So here's version 1. I'll use myself as an example. Here's version 1 of me. So let's call this V1. And here's V2. Now, in terms of energetics, our bodies are basically emotional sponges. In other words, we carry energy within us and it expresses itself as emotion. And it's a very unique trait of the human being. And it's very powerful when we utilize emotion to its greatest capacity, but it can also be our greatest Achilles heel. So, version 1 of me, say I'm currently emitting and expressing the most limiting emotions that a human being can feel, that are going to make me feel dense, lethargic, and quite trapped and very small in myself. They're going to be emotions like fear, guilt, shame, anger, and I would say like even hatred, okay? That is going to then start emitting a vibrational frequency around my physical vehicle that's going to then enmesh and entangle with everything else in my environment. So that energetic frequency of, let's call it fear, might look something like this. It comes from the heart and it spans out like a big torus field around us. So say that the energetic pattern of fear looks like this, and it might have jaggers in it, right? Like it's very abrasive, it's very harsh, and it creates like an energetic distortion in your field. However, when I am feeling into and emitting the greatest emotions that a human being can feel, ones of the highest energetic frequency that are aligned with the greatest levels of consciousness, that is going to be something like unconditional love. Not conditional love, unconditional love. And that, when tapped into at the highest capacity, transcends everything. Like, this is infinite energy, okay? It just keeps on spanning and spanning and spanning. And when somebody is in such a high frequency, they're just going to override the patterns of the person in fear next to them, okay? However, if we are not in this amazing and very high frequency of unconditional love, when we are around others that might be residing in a lower level of fear, when we don't have our protection up, our bubble up of unconditional love that just really absorbs everything around it and transmutes it immediately. When we are in a lower state of energy, if we might also be residing in fear and we're around others that are residing at that emotional frequency, then we're just going to distort each other's frequencies and continue to lower it in a negative feedback cycle. But by you emitting unconditional love, you can actually influence the people around you in a very positive way. So I don't have any more on that. That's just a quick visual that I want you to imagine at this point in time, because it's setting up the foundation for the next part. So as the great central sun is emitting light, so it's emitting, these are light, like imagine these as light frequencies, and it's emitting down to us here on planet Earth. These light frequencies are of the highest energetic frequency available to us in the universe, okay? Now, here is where the challenge lies. If the great central sun is emitting the highest energetic frequency that is available to all beings in the universe, we as humans, we reside at currently a lower level of consciousness, right? Because the great central sun is in the 12th dimension of creation, and we, here on planet Earth, we have a frequency range between the 3rd dimension of consciousness and the 5th dimension of consciousness. The planet is currently going from the 3rd to the 5th. However, human beings here on Earth, collectively, many of us are nudging into like the 4th dimension, okay? But there are still many stuck in the 3 dimension of reality, the matrix complex, and the matrix programming of fear. But the more of us that transition into an unconditional state of love, those who have healed from their traumas, their karmic energetic ties and everything like that, and are really cleansing and integrating the lower level emotions, they're going to be able to reside in states of unconditional fear much more of the time. The more we do that, the more our energy field will transmit and emit to other beings, and then we will collectively transform the planet into a higher energetic frequency. And when we do that, we will make far better decisions, because we cannot fix our problems from the same level of consciousness or energy that they were created from. So a lot of the problems that we see in the world today, they are created from that lower level energetic frequency of fear, of competition, of violence, hatred, anger, trauma to one another, right? But when we transcend that into love collectively, on average, we then become very solution oriented, and then we honestly start receiving the intelligence from our creators, and from that place we can then create an amazing blissful reality here on earth, the new earth, for our civilization as we evolve into higher levels of consciousness. Now, if that doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. For the rest of the video, I'm going to talk about how you can just focus on you and mastering your creation, your expression, and your happiness in your life, okay? But this is important to note, because the way that this Earth game experience works is that you are here residing on planet Earth, but you've also got a lot of help from beings in higher levels of consciousness. First and foremost, your higher self, okay? So your higher self is up here, residing in a higher level of consciousness than what your current physical body and consciousness resides in. Now, because when we come into the Earth experience, we transcend through the veil, or we come through the veil of forgetfulness. When you're born, you forget all this, and you kind of have to start fresh, and you have to make your way back to understanding and reintegrating with your higher self. So this is going to be a conversation for another video, but your higher self basically receives intelligence, information, energetic downloads, consciousness from the stream of light from the great central sun, and your higher self then directs you. In other words, your subconscious, that's what your higher self is, directs you and basically controls your subconscious, and then leads you around to have and conduct different experiences throughout your life that you need to go through to learn what you need to do. So hopefully in this lifetime, we can all wake up and realize the truth of who we are, how powerful we are, and then at that point we can realign and raise up our energetic frequency to remerge and connect with our higher self, and our higher part of our consciousness, and then we can start to work in communion as a conscious being in everything that we create moving forward. But the key to accelerated or more profound creation, more potent creation, creation that is much more innovative, that can serve humanity at the greatest capacity, we have to basically return and remerge with our higher self to be of the greatest effectiveness. Because when we do that, we have access to higher intelligence. That's all it is. We have access to more energy, we have access to a higher level of consciousness, and from a higher level of consciousness, we can create more effective solutions, we can innovate, we can create amazing things in this world, because the human being, the multidimensional human being, when merged with the higher self, is infinitely capable. So bloody capable, it's like very difficult to comprehend. Like, think Jesus level stuff, okay? Now, I don't claim to have all the answers, by the way, okay? We're all on the path. I do not see myself as any fucking influencer or guru or anything like that. I merely see myself as someone who's on the journey of doing this myself, and I'm just here to create some videos and help you remember this as well, so you can start getting on your path and aligning with your truth and getting on your mission as well. So understanding this, what we can then do is look at the strategies for, okay, this sounds great, but in my daily life, what the fuck do I do? And that's a fair enough question. So let's cover that. Alrighty, number one. Well, let's create some space because I got a few for you. Number one, follow your feeling. Now, this is going to be so counterintuitive to what most people in the marketplace are telling you right now, okay? Most people are going to say there's a specific process for creativity, there's a specific process for productivity, performance, and all of that stuff, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with what anyone's saying. It's all relevant because when you receive the wrong stuff, it helps you kind of realize that it's not right, there's something off about it, and then you can re-navigate towards the stuff that resonates for you the most. Now, by the way, my strategies, these strategies, they are as aligned that I've been able to create them with universal law and what works for me through experience, knowledge, and the wisdom I've developed over time. But if any of these don't feel aligned with you, that's okay too. You can just go on, it's all about you finding your own path and your unique combination of what's going to help you create your dream reality as effectively as you can, okay? So take this with a grain of salt and discern what is relevant for you. But if this resonates with you, then awesome. So follow your feeling. Why is this important? Well, so many people in this day and age, in our overly masculine driven environment, we've adopted a very logical culture where we need to see things to believe them. We need a logical explanation, a logical path for understanding things, producing things, and creating things, which is so linear, right? It's a very linear process, and I'm not taking, I'm not taking anything away from the power of our logical mind. It's a great tool, but it's overly used in our current society, and it's clearly not getting us collectively the results that we desire. And you'll notice that the greatest creatives in the world follow their heart, right? Their feeling. So what do I mean by follow your feeling? Well, there's a couple of things. Number one, it's about following what feels right for you. So if you're trying to create something that doesn't feel right, well, what are you doing? You're introducing friction into your mind-body-spirit complex. What does that friction create? It creates density, it creates stress, it creates dis-ease within your energetic field. What happens when you create dis-ease within your energetic field and you're doing something that's not truly aligned with you? You cut off and sever the link from the stream or energetic flow. Because in order to merge with your higher self and receive higher intelligence, you need to tune in and raise your energetic vibration to the highest degree possible that you can. And every time that you become more disconnected from yourself, removed from the truth and the authenticity of who you are, your core essence, your purpose in life, the more distorted you'll find yourself. And it works that way because that feeling of distortion, and this is applied to this as well, when you feel dis-ease, when you feel distortion, when you feel like something's not working for you, that's an indication that it's trying to tell you that that's not working for you, that there's things that you can change to make things easier in your life. And that is the power of following your feeling, because you actually don't need to force anything. You don't need to force the creative process. You don't need to struggle through the creative process. Now, yes, at times there's going to be pain, struggle, but pain and struggle are an indication that you're still yet to find the most ideal path that works for you. Okay? It's very ironic. Most people believe that, and most people will teach you that you need to cram through, you need to like bust through the struggle, you need to fight through the pain, you need to grind it out, work your ass off, and hey, I've done all those things. And they can serve a purpose for a certain point in time. But at the end of the day, you have to kind of address and realize like, all right, there's two paths in life. One is my entire life is going to be a fucking grind. Everything's going to be hard. Everything's going to be difficult. And it's going to suck every second of the way. But I'm going to be able to create and achieve like something at the end of the rainbow. And then I'm going to feel bliss and happy. Well, that doesn't sound like a very high quality of life to me personally. Now, for a phase in your life, I agree that it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult for sure, because that is basically the experience that you chose, because you can't know bliss, you can't know joy, you can't know happiness, you can't know flow and pure creation unless you've experienced the opposite of it, which is restriction and lack and limitation, where everything is a fight, everything is a struggle, everything is painful. And in knowing our pain and in knowing the struggle, we can then realize like, oh, this doesn't really work that well, you know, like maybe there's a better way. And that's when you can start the journey into discovering a better alternative, a better way where you can flow, you can create and do what you love on a consistent basis. So that is what I mean by following your feeling. So it works two ways. Number one, following your feeling is identifying your friction points. So it's like, write down everything that you don't like. Write down what causes friction in your life. Write down what's not really working for you and why, okay? Because it's all energetic, and a feeling is an emotion, and emotions are energy in motion, right? So what you're doing when you follow your feeling, there's nothing woo-woo or weird about it. If you're a guy, I know you probably are like, Rep, but I'm a fucking logical guy. And, you know, I feel great because I'm logical, because chicks feel and I don't feel. I used to have that kind of mentality myself, but, you know, it didn't really work out for me. It got me eventually here because there was so much pain in me neglecting my feeling and suppressing my feeling. But in order to get creative, in order to align with my purpose, in order to create the reality that I want to create, I had to like really take a hard look at my ego and dismantle it to then open myself up to feel, because when I felt, I was then tuning into energy, and energy carries information, energy carries light, energy carries consciousness. And when you can tune into those things, you can start climbing the ladder of ascension or the ladder of consciousness so much faster than if you just like logically compute your way through life robotically, you know? So identifying your friction points. It also allows you to feel like what's blocked energetically within you, because you can't get to a place of unconditional love and creation and pure flow until you've transmuted and overcome your dense emotions. In other words, emotions that are created from like traumas and bad experiences or limiting beliefs, perceptions, and paradigms that you have about the world. So it's like, it's really about removing all of the programming, all of the layering, all of the emotions that you've adopted on as yours, and it's integrating them so you can become at one with them, so then you can become more light. You can let go of the density within you. And I will cover how to do that in other videos, but really it's just about becoming more aware of what's going on and how you're feeling, and being willing to address how you're actually feeling in the moment, okay? So identifying friction points, and then following what feels good. You know, when was the last time that you allowed yourself to actually do something that you like, to create something that you wanted to create, not something that you felt like you had to create out of obligation, or because you had to, or because someone wanted you to, you know? That is the opposite of creation. I really truly feel that by following your feeling, you can access and doing what makes you feel good, that allows you to tap into your core essence. So following your feeling, following what feels good. Now, you can also really identify number one as following your feeling / increasing your energy. Because when you increase your energy, you start feeling better. And then you create and harness more creative power behind you into whatever endeavor that you're pursuing. So a couple of other strategies to increase your energy, it's really about like identifying friction points, following what feels good and doing what feels good. And another one is going to be about helping you with your physical energy, right? So just some essentials. I'm going to put it here as a generalized one as nutrition. But, you know, identify like what foods make you feel like shit, what foods make you feel really good in the long term. You know, like a bit of cocaine might feel good in the next 20 minutes, but then like, fuck, 10 hours later, you're gonna feel like dog shit. So you've got to play the long-term game here and make strategic and smart long-term decisions, because when you start doing things that make you feel good in the long run, you start to tap into the compound effect. And when you tap into the compound effect, you get so much better over time, and it adds on. And then when you feel good, like start feeling better incrementally in the long run, then you're gonna continue to harness more and more energy. And then the energy is gonna like snowball. And before you know it, over time, you're gonna have so much like power, so much energy, so much enthusiasm for life that just feeling good's gonna be your default eventually. Nutrition, movement, movement. The reason why I put this here is because the way to get into your, like I said, your body is an emotional sponge. It absorbs emotion. It processes and holds your own emotions that you're emitting from within yourself. It also absorbs and holds other people's emotions that are around you. So one of the best ways to reset your energetic field and get clear on what is even your energy and what is other people's energy, especially if you're quite empathic, then movement is key. So get outside and go for a walk or move your body, Tai Chi, yoga, honestly anything, running, weights, whatever, to move your body. Because when you move your body, you're moving energy, you're moving emotions through your body. And any emotion that you're holding onto that's not yours, if you go outside, get isolation, get some space with yourself and do some movement, you're then going to release other people's emotions that you've been holding on to, okay? And you're going to reset your energetic field. Another thing would be like, that's to do with your energetic field, is going to be, I'm going to call it grounding, but this can look like many things. The reason why grounding is so important is because we live on Mother Gaia, right? We're here. This is Earth. Now, we are a byproduct of Earth. We inhabit Earth, and we are the cells of Mother Gaia. So in this technological day and age, we are charged with positively charged ions all the time. You know, like all of the electromagnetic frequencies that are emitting from your TV, your phone, your Wi-Fi, the 5G network towers, computers, anything that has an electric charge to it, it is emitting kind of a distorted frequency. And it can start to, if you're not emitting a strong protective field of like love energetically, then it can start to hijack and distort your energetic frequency and really charge your nervous system and release a lot of positive ions within your body. Now, what you want is you want an alkalized body, and you want a body full of negatively charged ions. They are the good ions that you want in your body. So the best way to like reset your energetic field, really, that transcends most of this stuff, and the best way to return to a good charged state where you've got a lot of negatively charged ions within your body again, and you've released all the positively charged ones, is to go and restore yourself and to get your bare feet on Mother Gaia. Now, the reason why that's so important is because Mother Gaia, Earth, holds the balance point, holds the balance frequency, holds a neutral frequency point that is of a higher vibration, because Mother Gaia is absorbing information and energy from the great central sun. So Mother Gaia is very balanced most of the time. We do our best as a fucking society to really unbalance her, but she does an amazing job at purging energy, releasing energy, and allowing us and cultivating a really nice environment for us to thrive. So the best way to restore your energy is to go plug into her. You can do that by grounding outside, getting your bare feet on things like grass, sand, even swimming in the ocean or a natural stream of water. You can do it by getting in salt baths on a consistent basis. Or sitting in a tree. You pick your thing. You don't, as I'm saying, you don't have to do any of this. It's up to you what you want to take away from this with what resonates for you, okay? Now, then another thing that you can do to help yourself here is we live in a world of distraction and noise, all right? So in order to feel better, then we should eliminate what we don't like from our life. Now, I use social media myself sometimes. I don't do it much, but you know, when I'm on things like social media, I find myself getting quite distracted and off task, and it kind of fucks and hijacks my brain. You know, these things aren't really good for the human brain, or not good or bad, but if you're not aware of it, if you're not conscious of it, it can really hijack your nervous system. So the best thing that I do personally that I've found that really works for me is to just meditate, because what meditation does, and I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but maybe just pick one of these and start applying it into your life and see if you feel better, right? Follow your feeling. Do what feels good for you. Meditation, what this does is, if you are here, imagine yourself with all of the distractions in the world right now, everything going on. We live in such a high stimulated society, which is basically transmitting and emitting information to you all the time. So you are being fucking bombarded from every direction. Text messages, DMs, Netflix, movies, porn, shitty foods, alcohol, drugs, social media, ADD environment, and that just distorts your entire frequency, like puts you off completely. The best way to restore balance into your life is to clear your mind, to really achieve no mind. And I do that through meditation, because what meditation does, it allows you to clear all this and block all of this out for a period of time in the day where you can return to your set point and balance yourself out mentally and physically. And it also allows you to go deeper within inside yourself, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. But that is really one great tool for meditation. It can help you restore balance in your mind, body, spirit complex when you do it consistently. The next one is actively resting, recovering, and doing something fun. Why? Well, because we live in high stressful environments, most of us have a chronic level of stress that we're carrying around with us, whether we know it or not, all right? Now, what happens is, when we are stressed, here's the correlation between stress and creativity. So, if this is creativity, over here on the left, the y-axis, and on the x-axis we've got stress. If our default nature is maximal creativity and flow and power flowing through us all the time from the Creator here on Earth, and we are here to be a vessel for change, for service, to impact other people, and to master ourselves, well, that's I'm going to call that our default state, X, right? However, when we become stressed, what happens is when we are in our element, creativity, in unconditional love, that's our default state. And we've got all of, like when we are in those states of emotion and ecstasy, we have all of our neurochemicals working optimally for us, which optimizes our hormones, which then regulates our nervous system and determines our energetic vibrational frequency. When we are stressed, and when, like I said, remember that energetic graph I drew up of fear? When we have amplified levels of stress, it increases our levels of fear, which then pumps adrenaline into our system, which can be a good thing for survival. But in terms of creativity and innovation, it's terrible. It's the worst thing for it. So when we have increased levels of stress, what happens to our creativity is it plummets exponentially, okay? And the more we hold on to chronic levels of stress, the less creative we become. That's why barely anyone can create in our society right now, is because everyone is fucking chronically stressed. Why? Because we're all living in the matrix, struggling to keep up with the basics of survival. You know, if you're worried about your finances, if you're having fights with your missus, if you're constantly stressed about your health or scared of the scandemic, then you're going to constantly be in an overwhelmed state of stress, and your brain is not going to work at optimal levels because your energy is going to plummet, which is going to create further issues in your bodily complex, and you're not going to be able to tap into creative states. Then good luck getting creative or solution oriented to get yourself out of your current situation, because your neurochemicals are wired against you from the very beginning. So if you are in a chronic state of stress, or I do this regularly just to process through everything that's going on, because this is always a fine balance. It's a fine dance. It's an ever-evolving process. The best thing to do before starting any new venture, any new plan, taking any action, or making any big decision is to eliminate stress. Now, positive stress can be a good thing, right? Like going and exercising and doing some weights, going for a run. That's a positive form of stress. What I'm talking about is getting rid of the chronic stress and overwhelm within your mind, body, spirit complex. So before making any major decision, before trying to create anything new or do anything innovative, first take a couple of days off and go rest, recover, relax, do something fun. Because when you do something fun, you're going to then rebalance all your neurochemicals within your brain, which is going to allow you to optimize yourself, to perform at greater capacities, to tap into flow states, and to enhance and increase your energetic vibration and restore your natural balance set point, so you can then return to a higher creative place where you have enhanced energy, and with that enhanced energy, more information is going to flow to you that is of higher intelligence to give you more solutions. It's going to bring answers to you. Like, have you ever seen that the time when you get innovative ideas is not when you're stressed? It's when you're about to fall asleep. It's when you're taking a shower, when you're just daydreaming, when you're out for a walk, not even thinking about work. All of the ideas will flow to you when you're in a relaxed, recovered state. So that is that. Now, in terms of overcoming stress, I can talk about this in another video. I do want to touch on it quickly to help create a perspective around stress. Stress is not created by your external reality or circumstances. Stress is created by the meaning you attach to your external circumstances. So say that you're in a terrible financial situation right now, and you have no money, and rent's on the way, and you've got to make something work, and you're stressed to the max because you're like, fuck, what's going to happen? Well, acting from that place, you're not going to be very solution oriented because you're overwhelmed, you're stressed, and it's very hard to like settle and create anything of value from that place. So yes, it can work as a survival instinct to get things in order really quickly. But if you really want to get yourself out of your situation into a better future reality, the best thing to do is to enhance your energetic vibration, because we are creating our reality in every situation. So if you're stressed and your finances are terrible, or like shit's going on in your reality that you're like, oh my God, it's so overwhelming, I can't even keep up. Do you wonder why? It's because your internal state is reflecting that. You know, your external reality will match your internal vibration. So the best thing you can do is to rest, restore, recover, and work on your internal vibration. Overcome the attachment that you're giving to these circumstances, and to reframe them within your mind. Be thankful for the opportunity that you have right in this moment to challenge yourself, to overcome, to get solution oriented, to solve a big problem that you have created for yourself, because you wouldn't have created this situation in your life if you didn't want to challenge yourself to overcome it. That is actually the cool truth. So when you do that, you can take responsibility, you can start feeling good about the situation you're in, get positive about it. Don't allow negativity to even come into your mind. Get rid of it at all costs. And if anyone around you is like reinforcing those negative states, you don't have to receive it. You can acknowledge them for the beliefs that they have and be like, oh, well, that's okay for you, but that's not for me. And then that allows you to then master your energy and go and create the reality that you truly desire. Because once you fix your internal state of being, you'll then create the reality that matches that vibration. Okay, that's it for following your feeling. The next one is to know thyself. Now, the reason why this is so important is because when you know yourself, you start marching to the beat of your own drum, you start paving your own path, and you start walking your walk. You stop looking at other people in what they're doing, and you start focusing and worrying about just what you're doing, okay? And it's so powerful when you take the path where you know yourself, because when you know yourself, you get comfortable with yourself. You start accepting yourself, and you become okay with your dark side, with the aspects of you that you may not typically quote unquote like, but when you can integrate all aspects of yourself and be okay with you, and acknowledge yourself for your gifts as well, and talents and strengths that you have, you can start, as I said, marching to the beat of your own drum and creating what you truly desire, what makes you unique, what you love. And that allows you to bring a new level of confidence, of power, of conviction into your life to create whatever the fuck you want, right? Like, you don't really see Eminem, well, I don't really like his stuff these days, but back in the day when he was jamming, you wouldn't see him going and asking like the people at his rap battles or whatever, hey, what do you want me to create? Because, you know, I don't think I'm that good, but what do you think would be good? You don't see any artist doing it. They just create what feels awesome for them. And they don't create by going and asking others like, yeah, what do you guys want me to create? Like, yes, you can do that if you want to serve at some capacity, and you know, getting in tune with what others need to evolve. But really, what's going to help others evolve is by them seeing you create what you love. Because we do not need more imitators in the world. We need more people who are willing to be bold, to innovate, and to create from their heart's desire, not from a logically computed statistical thing based on data that other people want. Now, yeah, if you're out for money and fame, sure, like do those things, that's fine if that makes you happy. I'm just expressing my path that makes me happy, right? And it feels good because I don't have to necessarily worry about making things perfect for others, because I'm just creating what I enjoy when I enjoy it. And then from that place, I'm creating from my highest energetic vibrational frequency, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you create. What matters is the energetic vibration in which you create things from, because the energy is infused into the creation. So if you're just doing things for money, it's going to resonate with people who just do things for money or are resonating at that frequency. But when you do things out of love, out of passion, like that is what's going to make you take off at some point, is when you get those variables right. When you do things for you, because when you do things for you, you're actually serving the greater whole. because you're marching to the beat of your own drum and you're doing what you love, and you're then emitting that frequency you love out into the rest of the world. So know yourself. You can do this by, the key is to go within, right? You can use things in the external world to help you evolve, but really this is going to look at things like meditation. I like going on walks with myself a lot just to tune into what's going on. I assess all my triggers, okay? So when I assess my triggers, what I mean by that is like, all right, if I have an argument with Jenny and I'm really pissed off and I think it's her fault for everything, then after that happens, after I get out of the emotional whirlwind of that, instead of then just holding that energetic frequency, I'm like, all right, I'm not really feeling good. What is going on within me that created that reality, okay? And by then assessing like, oh, if she did something that I didn't like, why didn't I like it? Because everything around us is merely a mirror of something that is represented within ourselves. So if someone does something that we don't like it because it represents an aspect of ourself. So instead of worrying about what the other person's done or what's going on in your external reality, go in and tune into the emotion that's coming up for you. And by doing that, you can then face off with it, integrate it, and get rid of that issue altogether. And if that theme keeps on reoccurring in your life, you know there's still more work to do, okay? So that's a great way to know yourself, is transmuting and working on your triggers. You can also do things like personality tests. I personally love things like, not saying that these are the be all and end all, they're just tools to help you assist in navigating who you are, right? I love things like human design, love astrology, numerology, even things like Myers-Briggs is pretty good. Clifton Strengths Identification, I believe, workplace inventory. There are a few of the ones I really like off the top of my head. And then a couple of other things you can really do if you'd like to integrate them would be like journaling. And the best one that I've found, like the greatest one, is it's kind of already been covered really, is integrating with your higher self. But that comes from raising your energetic frequency, because when you raise your energetic frequency, you merge with your higher self. And when you know yourself, what actually happens is you start to align with your truth, which is how you discover your purpose. And once you discover your purpose, you'll start living on purpose, you'll start living your mission, you'll start becoming alive and loving what you're doing, because you'll then be on the path and you'll know it. So that is really my core. Oh, there's actually one more that is kind of a mini one. Like, these are really big ones, but there's a third one that we can just quickly discuss that is going to be useful for you. And that's going to be organize your life. So the thing with creation is it's all about balancing the masculine with the feminine energy, right? Your mind with your heart, uniting your mind and your heart together and getting them on the same frequency. So if you're caught up in the busyness of everyday life, if you're caught up in distraction, if you're overwhelmed with all the tasks and projects you've got going on, you're not going to be able to surrender into that creative state. So really take some time to get clear about what matters. Cut out the non-essential. Focus on what is essential. Create a digital organization system on your laptop, because you not only have to organize your life physically in your environment. If you're listening to this, you're probably a knowledge worker of some sort, either an entrepreneur, an online employee, a creator of some type. And that means that you have to manage, process, and create information and spread that. And that is really the new workers' economy, is how effectively we can manage and distribute information. And I really struggled with this for a long time because I was such an avid learner. I would absorb so much, and I found that my digital workspace, my laptop, was just getting out of fucking control. I couldn't keep up because I'd build a system and then I'd add more things that I needed to, like I'd evolve in my way that I worked, and then the system would break and then I'd have to build a new one. And it took me about 2 years to really get on top of it, to a point where I was really able to manage my life at a much higher capacity and able to get really creative with creating courses, creating online education platforms, managing clients. And it takes a long time to increase your workload and your work capacity. But as you do so, you need to create more effective organizational structures online and systems to accommodate for the increased capacity, the increased workload, to be more effective in what you're doing. So that's the way I view it. Is I always want to keep my physical environment organized, neat and tidy. I want to eliminate as many distractions and non-essential things as I possibly can. And then I want to streamline and automate a lot of repetitive tasks. And then I want a neat and tidy place with a great system to manage and store all of the information and my creative workflow. So I'm not going into that one today in how to do that, but if you want to learn more about it, then what I'd recommend doing, I'll include a link in the description below. But what we're doing, number one, is at United Mind, we are going to be launching a new community that is going to be full of like-minded entrepreneurs, creators, leaders, and light workers, for people who are really wanting to evolve themselves at a higher capacity, create what they really want, make money doing what they love. But we're going to be helping them with really designing their life, getting their life in check, in order, and then creating the necessary digital organization systems required to free up the logical mind, so then you can tap into your heart and your flow, right? And your intuition. Because when your logical mind is caught up with the busyness of everyday life, it takes you away from flow, it takes you away from creativity. So what we're going to be doing is launching a new program called Alchemy of Life Design in the next couple of months. So if you'd like, you can click on the link in the description below, sign up for the pre-sale list for that. By signing up for the pre-sale list, you will get a pre-sale list discount for Alchemy of Life Design. And then we're actually got a really awesome journey ahead for the rest of the year. We're then going to be going in and launching our next flagship program, which will be High Performance Accelerator, which is all about mastering your energy, enhancing your productivity, mastering basically your mind, body, spirit, and fueling that into being able to enhance and maximize your performance in life. Then thirdly, we've also got a mastermind running for men at this point in time. It's called Gentleman's Mastery, and that is really for guys that resonate with this content, resonate with becoming a master generalist in life, where you're really focused about mastering your internal state so that you can show up and perform across in all areas of life, in your mind, your body, your spirit, your relationships, and your business. Because I really created that mastermind out of the desire to help men integrate all aspects of life, because through my experience with working with thousands of entrepreneurs, I found that so many guys and so many men were so bitter and frustrated and really quite depressed because they were building businesses and doing things that they didn't necessarily love. They were mostly doing it for the cash and the money, which is fine in early stage. But once you've made a bit of cash, it's like, all right, how can I now free up my space? How can I systemize my life? How can I automate everything around me so I can have the mental bandwidth, the time, the energy, and the focus to do work that I love, where I'm on mission. I'm discovering my purpose and building a business that's in alignment to that work. Then I'm also building and organizing my business in a way where I'm not going to sacrifice my soul at the expense of just in order to grow a business. I also want to show up in my relationships for my family. I want to be able to evolve to a greater extent spiritually, mentally, physically. I want to weaponize my body in the process too. So, you know, this has taken me a long time to really get dialed in. It took me a long time, and I was really called to create this mastermind because I just really wanted to, I created it for myself basically, because it's taken me so long to really dial in each aspect of my life. And then it took me even longer to build a system and a philosophy and a methodology to integrate all of it into one, where you are progressing and evolving across all areas simultaneously without sacrificing any area of your life in the pursuit of it. So if that mastermind calls out to you, then you can click another link in the description below to actually, for the first 50 members of this, we're up to 40, but for the first 50, I've been taking all the calls myself. We've now got 40 guys in, so I'll be continuing to take the calls personally myself, so I can chat with you on this call and really just discern whether or not like a mastermind like this would be a great fit for you. But yeah, we do have an event here in Austin coming up in June. Then the next event for the year will be in September, which will be an online virtual event. And then we're going to wrap up the year with an awesome event in person in Costa Rica. So we've got some awesome stuff coming, and it's a really awesome group of guys that are very like-minded, very holistic in their approach to life. So if that is calling you, then yeah, book a call with me personally in the description, and then we'll have a chat. We'll see if it's the right fit. If it's not, I've got a great network of people, service providers, and programs that I can also refer you on to if I feel that their solutions would be a better fit to solve your problem. So that's it for me today. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.